for a jetliner that vanished over the South China Sea. 239 people are on board, including 3 Americans.
MH370 vanished into the night. 239 people seemed to be erased from a modern sky filled with satellites and radar. Hundreds of search operations ended in despair, turning MH370 into the most terrifying nightmare in aviation history. But after 11 years, a deep-sea research team dove into a place no one had ever dared to reach, and what they found left the entire world frozen in shock. 94 bodies were still seated as if peacefully asleep. The other 145 had vanished without a trace. And inside that aircraft cabin, there was something that did not belong to mankind. Less than 60 minutes after takeoff, the Boeing 777 suddenly disappeared from civilian radar screens without sending out any emergency signal. That very night, an unprecedented search operation was launched. More than 26 countries participated in the mission to trace the missing flight. Numerous satellites, submersibles, and reconnaissance aircraft were deployed on a global scale. The official cost exceeded $160 million USD, making it the most expensive aviation investigation in modern history. The search area expanded to over 120,000 square kilometers beneath the southern Indian Ocean, a deep, violent, and largely unexplored sea. Yet in the end, the only discovery was a single flaperon fragment that washed up on Reunion Island in July 2015, more than a year after the disaster. Forensic analysis confirmed the debris belonged to MH370, but it did not help narrow down the crash site. For the next 11 years, no new clues were found. The flight seemed to have vanished entirely into the ocean's depths. The complete silence from the aircraft sparked a flood of theories. Some experts suspected the captain deliberately diverted the plane into a remote area to commit mass suicide. Others leaned toward scenarios involving hijacking, terrorism, or military interference from a powerful nation. Conspiracy theorists even proposed that the plane was abducted by a UFO or slipped into another dimension. When all hypotheses remained unproven, MH370 became one of the most haunting and painful enigmas of the 21st century. The world gradually came to terms with the idea that the truth might never be known until, in 2025, a discovery from the deep sea turned everything upside down. Year 2025. Horrifying discovery from the ocean depths. After more than a decade of vanishing without a trace, in 2025, MH370 was suddenly identified at a location no one had imagined, a deep-sea trench known as Blue Crypt. An independent geological survey team, while conducting research in this remote area, detected an unusual metallic mass buried beneath thick sediment. With the aid of next-generation sonar and optical sensors, they confirmed that the structure perfectly matched the body of a Boeing 777. It was MH370. The shock came from the location itself, completely outside any previously scanned zones. Blue Crypt, a dead zone in the middle of the ocean, over 7,000 meters deep and under no national jurisdiction, had never been a focus in the official investigation. Dr. Marina Ellswood from the University of Southampton stated, "No one accidentally drifts into Blue Crypt. If the aircraft has been there for 11 years, it means someone knew it would never be found." This discovery reignited hope and triggered a chilling question. Who placed MH370 where no one would search? Why was that coordinate excluded for so long? The initial findings were swiftly censored. Several involved governments remained silent, sparking suspicion that something was being deliberately hidden. Relatives of the victims reacted with outrage. They found the wreckage, but kept it secret. We have the right to know the truth. Global news outlets like BBC, CNN, and Al Jazeera simultaneously called for the release of all data. Blue Crypt has now become the center of a mystery that could rewrite the history of aviation. But this was not the end. When experts first reached the plane at the bottom of the sea, what they witnessed inside the passenger cabin truly flipped everything upside down. Inside the plane wreck, a scene that stunned the world. While the shock of the Blue Crypt discovery had yet to subside, an even greater jolt struck. In an effort to get closer to the site, the expedition team deployed the latest underwater drone technology. Diving deep into the trench and approaching the Boeing 777 that had lain motionless for more than 11 years in darkness and icy silence. The images transmitted by the drone plunged the world into stunned silence, not only because of their brutal clarity, but because of the chilling quiet that cloaked what remained. As the floodlights pierced the pitch-black water, a scene no one had dared imagine emerged. The entire passenger cabin was intact, not collapsed. And then, the most horrifying discovery for investigators: 94 bodies still seated in place, as if time had frozen the exact moment MH370 vanished. There were no signs of chaos, no postures of struggle or flight. Every skeleton was sitting upright, with seatbelts still tightly fastened. That absolute stillness whispered something from the realm of the dead. This detail revealed something haunting. The people on board may not have known what was happening. They followed the order to remain seated, seatbelts fastened. And then everything ended suddenly. In a moment, no one had time to resist. 45 remaining passengers, where are they? The discovery of the wreckage, along with 94 bodies in the passenger cabin, shocked the world. But it also left a chilling question. Where did the remaining 145 go? To this day, not a single body, not a trace. Not one physical piece of evidence proves they were ever on board MH370. More than a decade has passed. Countless large-scale search operations were conducted, supported by advanced sonar, deep diving drones, and global satellite monitoring. Yet even after scanning tens of thousands of square kilometers of the ocean floor, the whereabouts of the majority of passengers remain entirely unknown. No bodies, no DNA traces, no personal belongings, as if they never existed on that doomed flight. Investigators have hit a dead end with a haunting question. If the fuselage is intact and the passenger cabin remained uncollapsed, then why did 145 people vanish completely without leaving a single clue? This remains the greatest contradiction across the entire decade-long investigation. Some fringe theories have surfaced, though considered extreme. Could someone have removed them from the plane, somehow, before or after it reached the ocean floor? Were the remaining passengers deliberately erased in a globally orchestrated cover-up? Professor André Keller, an anthropologist at the French Institute of Aviation, stated, "Finding only 94 bodies when there were 239 passengers is a discrepancy that cannot be explained by any standard crash scenario." This suggests a deliberate separation occurred before the aircraft reached the seabed. Dr. Lina Murakami, a deep-sea forensic expert from Japan, added, "At depths of several thousand meters, bodies may decompose slowly, but they do not completely vanish within 11 years, especially if enclosed in sealed compartments. The total lack of DNA, clothing, or personal effects is extraordinarily abnormal. What all has already been discovered is enough to shock the world, but the truth behind it is what left the entire scientific community speechless." Warnings from insiders. As the world reeled from the shocking discovery of MH370's remains lying silently in the depths of the Blue Crypt Trench, a series of unsettling testimonies began to surface, voices from those who had once stood close to the heart of the mystery but were never heard. In Sydney, a former sonar engineer, part of the 2016 search team, revealed to the press that their equipment had once picked up an unusually faint sonar return, emanating from what is now confirmed as the Blue Crypt. "We logged the coordinates and filed a report," he said, "but within a week, our funding was suddenly pulled. No one ever explained why." Internal records documenting the incident vanished from the system a few months later. In Kuala Lumpur, a retired investigator from the Malaysian government's technical team admitted he had received verbal orders not to disclose a string of unidentified positioning signals detected by a commercial satellite in 2017. "We couldn't confirm it was MH370, he said, but it should have triggered a deeper investigation. Instead, we were told to remain silent and stick to the official theory." And in Paris, a defense logistics consultant, formerly contracted by Airbus and a major European tech firm, offered a chilling observation. "There are things, if you knew they were in MH370's cargo hold, you'd understand why it could never be allowed to arrive safely. The issue isn't the aircraft, it's what it was carrying." None of them made direct accusations, but each account added a piece to a larger puzzle. And that puzzle revealed a familiar silhouette. Something was known, something was buried, and not by time, but by power and fear. Now, as those who once remained silent begin to speak out, the world must ask itself, has this decade-long silence been a matter of not knowing, or not being allowed to know? Chilling theory. Was MH370 intentionally flown into an oceanic graveyard? Findings at Blue Crypt have led to a terrifying hypothesis. Could it be that MH370 did not vanish randomly, but was deliberately guided, purposefully brought down into a remote maritime zone, nearly erased from every map? Blue Crypt is a massive deep-sea trench, lying outside the jurisdiction of any nation, unclaimed by any recognized maritime territory. This area has virtually no ship traffic, no radar coverage, no light, and anything pulled down here disappears completely into obscurity. It resembles an invisible graveyard in the heart of the ocean, where even the most advanced technology becomes powerless. Drone footage also revealed an unusual clue. The aircraft wing at the discovery site showed signs of flap deployment, a component only used when a plane is preparing to land. This reinforces the possibility that the Boeing 777 didn't crash, but was guided down to the seabed with precision. Dr. Michael Carter, an expert in global aviation security, stated, "MH370 didn't end due to a random malfunction. It was guided to a place no one would think to search. The question is, who possesses the technology and authority to carry this out, and what was the real motive?" Sharing the same view, Ms. Elena Ramirez, an aviation intelligence analyst, remarked, "The fact that MH370 ended up in international waters with signs of flap deployment suggests this was not an accident but a premeditated plan. Perhaps it was a calculated effort to erase all traces and conceal an unthinkable secret." From the unusual findings within the wreckage, a larger, more disturbing question emerges, one that chills the world to the core. Where did the 145 passengers and crew go? No remains, no DNA, no clues, as if they never existed at all. Theories of a separated compartment, a section sunk deeper, or perhaps only a partial wreck displayed on the ocean floor, are beginning to expose a horrifying truth that has never been revealed. Murky cargo, what was inside the hold, could be the key. Throughout the years of investigation, alongside the mystery of the wreckage and the missing passengers, another detail quietly fueled controversy: the cargo hold of MH370. When the aircraft vanished from all monitoring systems, questions arose not only about the people on board, but also about what was being transported beneath the cabin floor, where answers might have been hidden all along. The uncertainty began with a leaked document, the MH370 Cargo Manifest. According to this record, the hold contained packages labeled as fruit, but the issue was that this type of fruit did not appear in any global logistics or freight classification systems. Immediately, freight experts and investigators suspected a cover term, a coded label used to conceal the identity of a highly sensitive cargo. Tracing the origin of these ambiguous shipments led the investigation team to a surprising source: a major European defense contractor. This company was known for developing classified military technology, including signal jamming devices, disruption tools, and advanced electromagnetic weapons. From here, a new line of suspicion emerged. Could MH370 have been transporting ultra-sensitive equipment, something so dangerous that it posed a global security risk. Some analysts believe this was precisely the reason the flight had to disappear. Through a meticulously orchestrated operation involving technological interference and strategic concealment to ensure the truth remained buried. If so, MH370 was not merely a tragic accident, but the centerpiece of a covert effort to protect a top-secret military agenda. Stronger theories go even further, suggesting that the aircraft may have been attacked or hijacked, not because of the passengers, but because of what lay in the cargo hold. The contents might have included tools capable of jamming communications, neutralizing radar, disabling navigation, even electromagnetic weapons powerful enough to destroy remote systems. If that is true, then MH370 was not just a disappearance. It was part of a cover-up darker than the loss of 239 lives. The world must now face the truth. After more than a decade shrouded in darkness, MH370 is no longer just the story of an aviation disaster. If the latest evidence is verified, this may be a meticulously orchestrated plan designed to conceal a secret humanity was never meant to know. And now, the world must confront questions that can no longer be ignored. Who orchestrated the entire operation? Could there be a force powerful enough to manage evidence, distort truth, manipulate recordings and radar data for over 10 years? The black box suddenly transmits a signal. Unexplained radiation surrounds the wreckage. 145 people vanish without a trace. All these puzzle pieces, when placed together, form something larger than anyone expected. The victims' families continue to wait, still trapped in unrelieved grief. They didn't just take our loved ones, they stole our right to know. One relative shared, "We want real answers, not doctored reports or hollow apologies." Their voices are echoing louder across the globe, demanding transparency from governments, investigative bodies, and the international media. Why was the public misled for more than a decade? Was there a deliberate effort to distort the timeline, to create a diversion that kept the true story hidden? MH370, clearly, was not simply a plane crash. It was a manipulation, a system built on silence, technology, and power. And if the theory is correct, that what was removed from the aircraft was more dangerous than the loss of 239 lives, then the world is facing a wound it has yet to acknowledge. We have two options: remain silent or launch a full, unrestricted, and transparent investigation. Only when the truth is revealed can the pain begin to heal. Only when every shadow is brought to light can humanity truly learn the lesson of MH370. The plane has been found, but the truth has not. The crack between justice and deceit remains, between modern technology and unsolved shadows. The wreckage beneath Blue Crypt may be the final clue, or merely the first veil in a far greater concealment. The bodies still sit upright, seatbelts still fastened, a cargo bay with contents no one can confirm, and a chilling void where 145 lives disappeared without a trace. Science has illuminated part of the darkness, but every answer only brings more terrifying questions. Who intervened? Why the secrecy? And what lies buried deeper than the ocean floor? Until everything is exposed, MH370 will remain an unhealed wound, not just for the families, but for all of humanity. If you found this video thought-provoking, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content ahead. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching. And remember, what we present here is analysis from various perspectives. Combine it with other sources to gain a fuller and more balanced view.